Annexed Palestine. It's a story that starts and ends at the right of return. 1885. White men strapped in tuxedos discuss business under smoke rings, Rothschild and Co. 14 million for the state of Zion to build 30 settlements. Expel the savages, expel the savages, expel the savages. The Palestinian farmer and the fisherman. And laughter lavished from bellies hanging over arrogant attires in halls bejeweled with blood and horror. For the first time in Palestine, the flag of Israel was raised on a settlement they named Rishon LeZion, meaning first to Zion. This is the story of Annexed Palestine. 1896, Theodore Herzl publishes The Jewish State, claiming Palestine a land empty, infested with malaria and swine, a land without a people except for the Palestinians, the farmer and the fisherman, except for the Palestinians. Annexed Palestine is a story of expulsion and land grab. 1910, 60,000 Palestinian farmers expelled by ruthless mercenary gangs to be replaced with European Jewish farmers, armed European Jewish farmers, protected by the Jewish Guard to expel Palestinians and fight those who try to return. Always fight the Palestinian who tries to return. Annexed Palestine is the story of armed colonial gangs terrorizing an unarmed indigenous population from the very beginning. 1915, the Sykes-Picot Agreement divides the Middle East to facilitate Jewish immigration to Palestine, land sale, building of settlements, militarizing Jewish settlements, and Palestinian transfer from Palestine. 1917, the Balfour Declaration promises to establish a national home for Jewish people in Palestine. Only 1 month after the Balfour Declaration, on December 9, 1917, terror struck across Palestine. General Allenby, by order of Winston Churchill, along with the Jewish Legion, armed with the Empire military, stormed and occupied Jerusalem. Whispers carried across every Palestinian city and town and village about the British and colonial gangs that have come with the British, 100 times more brutal than the British. Palestinians resisted unarmed. Palestinians resisted entire empire militaries unarmed. Annexed Palestine is the story of a British mandate rule, armed and militarized, to create a Jewish commonwealth in Palestine. 1937, Britain publishes the report of the Royal Commission and divides Palestine into three: part for the European Jews, part for the Arabs, and part for the British. A committee is established for the transfer of Palestinians from their land and eliminating Palestinian resistance, and another for arming and training Zionist militias on planned insurrections of Palestinian villages and towns to expel Palestinians from their land. 1939, Palestinians revolt, Palestinians boycott, Palestinians strike, Palestinians riot, Palestinians negotiate, Palestinians compromise, Palestinians rise up, Palestinians resist and resist, fully armed, empire militaries unarmed. Annexed Palestine is the story of resistance and conspiracy drawn up by narcissistic business criminals to create the illusion of a state atop of skeletons and skulls. 1947, the UN Partition Plan declares the State of Israel on 60% of Palestine. Annexed Palestine is the story of organized and systematic denial of indigenous people's sovereignty over their land. 1948, the date we all know, a catastrophe. The days before no longer led to the next. 750,000 Palestinians terrorized to flee. 530 Palestinian villages and towns vanished. Massacres ensued. Min Yasin, the Tabariya, the Nasr al-Din, the Abbasiyya, the everywhere we had grown from ancestors to babies. Colonization is the encapsulation of what used to be in the form of inordinate ornaments like keys, doors, feet, and seeds overnight. Soil taken away from what makes it sand. Refugization, looting from land, sea, and sky, trees and soil, entire families bombed and corralled out of Palestine to walk in hunger and thirst for miles, feet rubbing sand. Ethnic cleansing is the story of Annexed Palestine. 1967, swallowed whole, bone and teeth and corpse. Another 300,000 expelled. The UN declared Israeli annexation of Palestinian land illegal, yet within miles, shots fired and bodies back for what was stolen from them. Annexation turned military occupation in a process of dehumanization. 1987, first of the Intifada's breaks. Palestinian resist war economies and empire with rocks and stones. Illegal settlements eating away at Palestine. Colonial guards at checkpoints caging what remains of our human parts. City after city, and between every village and every orange grove and olive shores are arms wrapped around barbed wire. 1993. Accords turned treaties for the wealthy and genocidal for the rest. Two-state solution for a Palestinian state eternally in talks. Meanwhile, the Israeli state on lock. Settlements grow. Gun-strapped settlers illegally greed and roam. Israel armed in billions yearly. Palestine unarmed in perpetuity. Israel gains international legitimacy. Palestinians self-ruled by a puppet authority. Annexed Palestine is the story of narcissistic criminals disguised as politicians and representatives conspiring to kick Palestinians off of their land. 2000, Second Intifada breaks. Mohammed al-Durra executed live on camera for the first time. Authorities conspire as one occupier, incarcerating resistance, criminalizing dissent, dungeon keepers, kidnapping schemes, dawn raids, scattered screams, midday curfews, midnight sweeps, separation wall, refurbished spaces, homes demolished at dusk, villages abducted at gunpoint, children detained, lawyers never present, charges non-existent, verdicts always complicit, solitary confinements, trials delayed and delayed and delayed, like Ahmed Manasra, 15 years and still no charges, and still delayed, and still sadistic. Our children, their trails are tales to dispossession tales, the resemblance of flesh behind metal gates, their frames growing into the ball and chain. Annexation is caging, enslaving Palestine. 2005, Intifada breaks. Gaza turns resistance. Many intifadas break. The wall is meant to break, and until it breaks, many intifadas will break. 2007, Gaza turns siege. Collective punishment for resistance, be siege. 2008, 2009, Operation Gaza Massacre under siege. Lockheed Martin, Elbite Systems, Raytheon Technologies, General Dynamics, Northrop Grumman, Boeing Company, and General Electric air shows and trade shows showing off the latest in genocidal technologies. BlackRock scoping the future of stolen land, imperialist monopolies conspiring for gas, for pipelines, for coastal beaches and resorts, for shipping lanes, for a returning Messiah, for a land bridge to Africa, for an entrance to the East, for the Mediterranean, for military contractors, for one less Palestinian. 2010. Flotillas gathered to break the siege and murdered for attempting to break siege. 2011-2012, Operation Gaza Massacre continues under siege. 2014, the Great March of Return. Palestinians peacefully protest to break the siege, dancing Debke in a ring of fire. Over 200 murdered, 36,000 severely injured, 9,000 of which were children, and the siege tightens. 2015, children on beaches desecrated, entire bloodlines eliminated. 2018, 2019, 2021, Gaza massacre is now normalized. 2022, 16 years and still under siege. Entire generations born and raised under siege. 2003, prison break. Annexed Palestine is the story of the oppressed refusing to be subjugated, refusing to be the violent, absorbing, passive victim. Resistance paratroops across barbed wire. Military drones, withering storms of resistance fire. Colonizer humiliated, accelerates mode Gaza genocide. How dare the wretched of the earth break free? Annexed Palestine is the story of the abused breaking free from their abuser. Extermination turns Gaza. No food, no water, no fuel, no light. No light, but the night lights from the bombs bursting in the air, and the twilight from exploding schools and universities and churches and mosques and libraries and bookstores and bakeries and buses and ambulances and markets and generational homes and hospitals and hospitals and hospitals and hospitals, where press conferences are held amidst a pile of dead small corpses, organized by children on behalf of the ones remaining. Annexed Palestine is a story of liberation from generations of warlords and capitalist mongers. Our children, they are born out of this dark. They beam out from underneath rubble upon rock, giving proof through the night that the siege turned silencing, weapons used for massacring, turning Gaza to dark. Annexed Palestine, nowhere left to turn. Gaza is all I think about in the dark. Annexed Palestine is the story of over 100 years of resistance against armed European domination and subjugation. So disarm Israel now.